Hello and welcome to episode 4 of OneShot. So Danish is off somewhere this weekend, or he was supposed to be. So it is Muffy, Sam, and myself that will be hosting you through this episode. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
All
Yeah,
right.
excellent stuff. Cool. So let's just quickly kind of get into it. Let's start with Apple Vision Pro. I know we said we're not going to talk about it, but here we are talking once again about it, and that's because we have something interesting to say. I don't know if you remember a couple of episodes back, we mentioned that Apple Vision Pro was selling close to 35,000 dirhams or $10,000 in the UAE. It's out now. It's out and about now, and I'm looking at the prices at Dubazel. Okay, Muff, have you checked out the prices?
No, I've not.
Okay, what do you think the prices are going to be at right now? It's out. It's available right now for you to go and pick it up.
So
Take a
this is
guess.
not officially
No,
released, right?
so it's not being officially
All right.
released here in the
So it's,
UAE. People who
so
have
it's
gray imported it,
scalping. Okay.
absolutely. So
So
right before the launch, the price was 35,000 dirhams. Where do you think it is today? And by
okay,
today, I mean the 7th of February.
it should in an ideal world, it should have gone down a little bit, but
Okay.
something tells me it has gone up.
Okay.
So let's say 40,000.
Okay.
I did exactly the same move. A bus led me down that trajectory. Drum roll. What is it actually?
Half of that, 16,000 dirhams.
No
It's
way.
literally crashed, and there are tons of them available on Dubizzle right now. 17,000 dirhams is what it's selling for. I think people have realized that you need a US account for it to work. Obviously, they're not going to work on your UAE account. So unless you're willing to sort of create a completely new account, which won't have any of your subscriptions, which won't have any of your purchases, your Apple Music, your Apple TV Plus, your iMessages, all of that. It's
But
going to be, yeah,
but
completely
If you're
why?
different
going to
one.
drop 16K on the Vision Pro, I don't think you're bothered about subscribing twice for Apple Music and right?
But are these things region locked like that?
They're region locked to the account. So Apple's only allowing US based accounts to sort of sign into it right now.
It's just
So
launched
once
in the
they,
US.
yeah, exactly, because it's only launched in the US. So once they start rolling it out globally, then of course hopefully we'll have our accounts as well. But yeah, I mean, it has reduced to half of what it was. Surprising. Honestly, yeah, even I was quite surprised to see that because remember, I told you I was going to ask someone to just see if they can walk into a store and pick one up for me from the US. I'm not going to ask him to do that now because it's pretty much
Exactly.
available, $3,500. You add a 10% tax, that's about 3,900 US dollars, which is about 14.5 to 15 thousand dirhams.
Yeah, so
And
it's not,
It's
it's not too
negligible.
bad. Yeah,
a
it's not
guy's
too
got to
bad.
eat at Dubizzle as well. He's got to make some money, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to sell it for anything below that. But hey, who knows if they don't sell? I mean, because it is a reasonably high end ticket. It's a reasonably high price object. So I'm assuming that people who might have thought, hey, let's make a quick buck, and suddenly they realize that there is no buck over here. Maybe they might panic, and we might get them at below MSRP. So, and if that happens, then maybe we should pick one up, try it out in the office, and get
You know,
everybody's reactions.
this news gives me immense pleasure because when the PS5 launched, right? I've been through this where although I got my PlayStation 5 from Amazon at retail cost, but I was following the news where it was just insanely priced and people were still buying it because you know
Yep.
Yeah, they had
but
no option.
yeah, exactly. But now this crash happened. It gives me immense pleasure.
Yeah. I'm with you on
Stop
that,
the
Muffy.
scalping. Yeah.
Yeah. If any
Also with
scalpers get hurt,
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Definitely. 100%.
Also with PS5, a couple of things, right? I mean, it was sort of rolled out globally. So, you could use your UAE account. So obviously it
Yes,
was a little
yes.
bit more in demand with that.
Yeah,
And then secondly, it was, remind me, but it was right around the pandemic, right? So the
Yes.
supply chain had gotten affected. So
Yeah.
there were actually not a whole lot of units.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's just that Sony couldn't produce enough of those.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's probably why, it went for the prices it did. So the one that I had bought, I remember I gave it to Mara. I had pre-booked one as well. And then I managed to find one on Amazon through some random luck because it was, I think it was Ramadan days when I actually bought mine. So I was up past Suhoor and I think one of the retailers forgot to update their pricing on it.
I
So I
remember
actually,
that.
yeah, I actually got it for lower than what it was supposed to be. And the guy tried to cancel the order. This, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I
hey, I'm
remember
not going
this
to
one.
cancel. Yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
cancel, go ahead and cancel it through Amazon. But then he honored it. So hats off to him. Thank you very much, kind sir, whoever you are, for letting me buy the PlayStation at a lower price. So there are some good people in this world as well. All right, cool. All right, so with that, Apple Vision is out of the way. Let's talk about Zeekr next.
Mhm.
Now, this is a new EV brand that is owned by Geely or Geely. Sam, first of all, how do you say that?
I'm pretty sure it's Gili,
Okay,
but I mean,
but
potato, potato,
so
right?
here's the thing, like Sam and I attended the launch event for this, and maybe I heard it wrong, but I think one of the Chinese representatives that went on stage said Geely. I'm
Gili.
100% they said that. I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong, but I thought that they said Geely as well, and that made me wonder as well because I thought it was Geely, pronounced as
Mm.
Geely as well. But anyways, we're not talking about Geely. We're talking about Zeekr, and they are launching two cars in the UAE, two EVs.
Yeah.
Sam, do you want to just kind of briefly go over these two cars?
Sure. So you've got basically, as you already mentioned, Geely, Geely as a primary parent company, and then they've got sort of a subdivision, which is Zeekr, which is your premium high-end EV only models, and they launched the 001 or the zero
Hmm.
zero 001, which is a sedan sort of Model S
Yeah,
competitor as such.
Tesla Model S. Yep.
Tesla Model S looks super premium. The interior, the quality, Alcantara, fancy lights, big screen, all of that. Really, really impressive. 100 kilowatt hour battery, which was also
It's big.
really awesome.
Yeah.
And then they also launched the Zeekr X, which is like a compact crossover, fits that Model 3, Model Y sort of space as such. Also looks really nice. Not as premium from a material standpoint or features wise. I'm noticing a few details here and there, and we obviously hope to get it for review soon. Pricing wise, just to give you guys a bit of an update, the Zeekr X starts from 170,000 dirhams, so
Hmm.
reasonable given what it is that they're offering.
Yep.
Whereas the 001 starts at 227,000 dirhams, basically.
That was a more expensive one for
More
sure.
expensive.
So Sam and I, again, we kind of went to the event. We sort of had a hands-on experience with the cars, and we test drove the Zeekr X.
Yeah.
I've got a Model Y, right? I've got a Tesla Model Y, and it is somewhat similar to that. But I mean, we sat in it for about half an hour, test drove it, played around with all the settings and all the options and all the features. I wasn't loving it. I mean, it wasn't something that would make me switch from my Tesla. Now,
Mm.
the 001 is a separate story. That looked
Yeah, yeah,
stunning. That was phenomenal, and I think that maybe that has the power to do so. But the one that we sat in, the Zeekr X, I'm not saying it's a bad car, but it's just not enough to make me switch from my Tesla. At least,
yeah.
that's how I felt about it.
I think that'll be a different story with the 001 because, like I say, little things that we picked up on here and there, there
Hmm.
is, when you look into more detail with it, there is quite a stark difference between the X and the one. And so I think, like you said, not only materials wise, but like features and functionality and everything, I think that could be the one to
Yeah.
sway you.
Good pricing though. 170 is not too bad for a mini SUV.
Yeah, it's
Mini
reasonable. I
electric
mean,
SUV.
competitive to what Model 3, I think, is around the
Yep.
160,000 mark.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, interesting.
And Model Y keeps falling down every week in price as well. I just look at it and I start crying. Based on how much I paid for it. Every single freaking week, it's down. Every single week.
Oof, oof.
So, anyways, I'm happy with my car. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Muff, interested in an electric car? Would you ever consider one?
Yes, I'm not going to say that's my next car because it is still too expensive. But down the line, for sure, like those cars are the future, and I'm more interested in the technological aspects
Yeah.
of. about the car rather than the speed and the power and that
Mm.
all.
Yeah.
Who cares in this traffic? But yeah, definitely. In hopefully 10 years, maybe some Chinese brand will make a cheap EV car that I can buy.
Okay, so at what price would you say that, okay, great, I'm in?
Normal pricing, no,
Which
no,
is,
normal pricing. So let's say 80,000
okay.
in the next 10 years. A very basic EV car that has decent range, some
Mm.
tech. That's a good baseline to start with. 80,000,
I
70,000.
Yeah, look, I think that's completely doable. I mean, based
Yeah.
on, some of these Chinese manufacturers and okay, not necessarily the EVs, some of the cars that Sam's shown me for ICE and, internal combustion engines, they look beautiful and they cost under 100K. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see EVs, Chinese EVs headed in that direction as well. And if they're heading in that direction, then, the others that are competing with them will have to do so as well. I think one of the graphs that we saw today at the launch of Zeekr was that 35% of the EVs that are manufactured are Chinese brand
Yeah.
manufacturing. So that's insane. That's
Yeah.
massive. A
Huge
third
market
of
share.
your EV, absolutely, absolutely. So 100% it's going to come down in price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, was it Honda or Xiaomi who was making that battery?
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi, which had like 1,000 range,
No, that
right?
wasn't Xiaomi. That was BYD. What was it? Was it who was the 1,000 kilometer car range? I think it was BYD. They had showcased.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
so. And this was about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that, right?
Mm.
They had
So yeah,
done that.
like for EV to really get going, I think the battery technology needs to
Yeah.
get there, like 1,000 range. That would be
Oh,
insane, whatever it
100%.
is. Yeah.
One good thing about these cars that they mentioned was that they've got super high charging. So in 15 minutes, did he say, you could get 120 kilometers worth of charge?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
The
So
thing
that's
is,
pretty cool.
though, I think it's almost a psychological perspective. Like, what is, where is your reasoning coming to 1,000 kilometers of range? Like, realistically, that was something I've seen as a study that other people have done. They actually queried how much range people needed, or thought they needed, versus how much range in reality they needed. And there is, an astounding, overwhelming response that people think, oh, I need 1,000 kilometers of range, whereas in reality they only need 500 kilometers of range, for example. So I'm curious on like like is that, what's the reasoning as to why that would sway you to say, okay, a vehicle has 1,000 kilometers of range? Because even I would say your current vehicle is not at the 1,000 kilometers of
Yeah,
range,
it's
right?
barely giving me 400. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think it's because of the use of batteries, right?
Okay.
I know that now it's not a tank full of petrol that can hold this much quantity, right?
Mm.
Ba- Batteries are technolo- te- technological things. So the more they improve on that, the more range you get, right?
Mm.
So if they can keep on improving it in the next 10 years, 1,000 range should be possible, So that's the thing, right? It needs to be improved where the range is like massive. So if you are charging the car for like 1 to 3 hours, it should last you for like, I don't know, 2 3 weeks.
Mm. I think they'll probably go the other way as a case of increased charging speeds so that
Yeah,
it
definitely.
becomes quicker almost
Yeah.
to like conventional ICE vehicle as one. And two, the battery technology that uh, what's the word called? The degradation of the battery is,
Battery health,
null
yeah.
and void. And there are already, new battery technologies out there to say, I think I did a video on like some, I forgot it was an article, but on exactly that, to say that it can do over 50,000 cycles on a charge and the battery degradation was like 1% or something
Wow.
negligible.
That would
So
be
then you
awesome.
wouldn't care, right? You don't need a
Yeah.
thousand
Yeah,
kilometers
definitely.
range if it's
Yeah,
going to
then
take
then I
five
would. Yeah.
minutes and you get
Yeah.
500 range.
Yeah. Definitely.
My thoughts on these two subjects, Muf, sorry to bust your bubble, but 10 years back, My mobile phone gave me 1 day of usage. Today still gives me 1 day of usage. So I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of change as far as the range is concerned or battery is concerned for a car.
So
I guess we're probably going to get somewhere close to that 700, 600, 700 kilometers.
hmm.
Having said that, 1,000, why 1,000 makes sense to me is that I can drive to Muscat and back. It's not like I drive every single day to Muscat, but we do as a family go there once a quarter or something along those lines. So, and right now I wouldn't think of taking the Model Y there.
Mm.
With its 400 to 500 kilometers range, I wouldn't think about it. But hey, if I had 1,000, yeah, sure, I totally would. I wouldn't think twice.
Yeah, I mean, for me is like now we are seeing a glimpse of the future, and when I want to envision the future, I want to see cars that drive themselves, that charge while you're driving, like the roads charge the car, those sort of tech. So 1,000 range of kilometers for me is shouldn't be like a hard thing to get, because it will improve. It needs to get there. Fast charging, 1,000 kilometers range, whatever, just go for it and see where we stick, where we land in the next 30 years.
I think the only technological advancement that was announced also this week, or I'd seen a demo of it on social media, is ADNOC are demoing the automatic petrol filling robot arm
Oh,
thingy-mabob.
wow.
So there you go. You stop, it fills your car up, and you don't have to speak to anyone or
Like
deal with
that,
anyone.
Are we saying
that's
that
great.
the guys who fill up our gas
I
are going to
feel,
be
yeah,
losing
obsolete,
their jobs next? Yeah,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. Now, the kind of future, that I kind of envision, Muffy, is that when you're in downtown Dubai and there's a massive line in front of a signal and you see that signal go green and you're waiting 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and you're still stuck at that exact same place you were, the amount of efficiency that if the cars were talking to each other and everything starts driving at the same time,
Oof,
without necessarily,
oof.
I mean, the amount of efficiency will gain out of that because it
Yeah.
takes 35, 40 seconds for me just to start moving. So by the time I'm halfway there, obviously, the signal's going to turn red. But imagine if all cars moved exactly at the same time, right when the signal
Yeah.
turns green. That would improve the efficiency of the road system tremendously.
Yeah.
That's the kind of future that I'd want to
There
be
will
in.
be no traffic. Imagine
Yeah,
that. You're going
absolutely.
down the Sharjah highway at 6 p.m. and there is no traffic.
Absolutely. You're playing PlayStation in your car. I mean, the car is driving as well,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No traffic and PlayStation. Hey, what could be better than that?
You reach home in 10 minutes? Whoa. Stop.
I think that's the flying car, Muffy, the flying car.
There's going to be air congestion as well, Sam.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have people with those two things always guiding the traffic. I don't know, the one with the airplanes. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Funny.
All right, moving on. So we published a Valentine's gift guide this week on Tbreak, and instead of gifts that we would like to buy our better halves, we thought we'd change things around a little bit. These are the gifts that we'd love to get ourselves. These are our picks. So, if you've got a spouse or a girlfriend or someone who cares for you and wants to buy you a present, make sure you point them to this tea break guide because these are some genuinely good stuff that, hey, I would love to sort of get, anything on this list. But what we did decide to do for this episode was pick three things from this list. Again, you can check this out on tbreak.com and let's just do one by one for each one of us. I'll start with the first one. The one that I would love to get is the Barista Touch stainless steel coffee machine. It's priced at 4,849 dirhams, but oh man, I would love to get this coffee machine. Just put your beans in, it grinds it. You can whip up a latte, an Americano, an espresso. Stainless steel, so it looks good. There's a touch screen on it, so you can decide the kind of drink you want. Obviously, they have one with all the mechanical things. If you're sort of like a barista yourself or want to practice to be one, you can do that too. But I'm more of a techie guy. I want things to sort of work for me, So that would be my first pick from this list. Sam, let's go to you next. Which would be your number one pick from this list?
So I really like my OG watches, Casio G-Shocks, your Seikos, all of that kind of stuff. And we've obviously put on, it's a sort of a hybrid. You've got the MTG B1000 or something. It looks like an OG watch. It's got Bluetooth. It has some smart functionality, but I really like it. It's got like a solid, chunky stainless steel body. It looks really nice. So
Looks
that's something
great.
I'd go for.
Looks beautiful, and it's for 3,320 dirhams.
Yeah. It'd look great on my wrist.
All right, Murph, you go with your first pick.
I don't know, man. Like the wall behind me looks pretty blank. So I thought, the nano leaf shapes that would look pretty good. Like I've always wanted like some kind of lighting in my room because the lighting in my room is not very good. So something like this would make it look nicer when I'm playing games or watching movies, something like that. So pretty good.
No, I totally dig that. In fact, I think, Sam, you want to go for your second pick as well?
Drum roll, it would be exactly the same thing, Muff.
Ah, really?
Exactly the same. A friend of mine has them. They look really nice, sort of totally change your whole, room aesthetic and everything. But it's like one of those things you don't really want to buy it yourself, but it would be a wonderful Valentine's gift.
Yeah, definitely.
And the second thing on my list, hey, an RTX 4090's never hurt anyone, except for the person buying it, because yeah, it's 18,000 dirhams. That's what it's going for right now. This Asus ROG GeForce RTX 4090 OC edition. Too much to ask, yes, 100%. But hey, it's a wish list, right? I mean, we're sort of, there's no rain, so yeah, just go at it. So I wouldn't mind one of these cards.
That thing is more expensive than the Vision Pro on the
That is true. That is true.
which is
Vision Pro. You know what? Maybe we need to update this list. No? Maybe we need to add some Vision Pros in here as well.
which is honestly insane to think about. You're getting
Yeah.
one product versus the Vision Pro, and man, when will these prices come down? I can't imagine.
Absolutely. What would be your second pick, Muff?
So
Third pick.
I mean,
No, second pick. He has Nanoleaf was his first one.
Oh, sorry. My bad. My
Yep.
bad.
from the list, I'm in need of a new TV because my mom stole my old one. So,
Stole.
well, it is in the hall, in the living room. And I can't-
Commandeered.
Yeah, commandeered. And I can't use it for games anymore. So I would want a new OLED TV. So the only one looks pretty nice, 77 inches, 22,000 dirhams. But
Oof.
it's a gift. I'm
That's
not
a lot
paying
of
for it.
love.
Yeah, someone should show me that kind of love. I would really, really like it.
Well, it's the A95L. It's a stunning TV. It's a QD OLED. I think Sony's top of the range TV. And yeah, it just looks stunning. It's a great pick. Muff, let's start with you for round 3 then. Like, what would be your third choice on this list?
I had seen one. Man, where is it?
It's tough to choose, right? There are so
It is
many
tough
good
to choose. It is
choices.
tough to choose. Yeah, yes. The air fryer Max from Ninja.
The Ninja Air Fryer
Yeah.
Max. Yeah, Ninja is a great brand for air fryers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always on a diet for like 10 years now. So something like that would, spice up my lunch and dinners, because now I eat kind of the same thing to maintain my diet. But if this doesn't add more calories and still makes the food taste better, then it would be pretty nice to have.
Yeah,
While
and
you
it's like
sit down
compact.
and look at your Sony OLED TV
Exactly.
playing
With-
PS5,
with
right?
the
With the
leaf-
nano
leaf
leaf
li-
lights.
Exactly.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Imagine that. What a world.
Oh, fair enough. And look, air fryers are nice in the sense they're compact, so everything's gets cooked quickly, and you don't lose a lot of energy in that process as well. It's not like a big old conventional oven that needs to fire up for it to get warm. So it's quick and it's easy that way. Sam, what would be your final choice?
Final choice would have to be the Anker 535 portable power station because do a lot of camping, 4x4ing. You always need to charge stuff, and it's a nice little neat package with a great amount of battery life. So that would be my pick, and it's reasonable,
Yeah.
1,600 odd dirhams. It's
Yeah,
not too
absolutely.
bad.
It's not too bad. It's not bad at all. No, I like that. I think it's pretty cool as well. I definitely one that I was eyeing as well. But my third pick would be the Sonos Era 300, the speaker.
Hmm.
It just sounds incredible. Would be just amazing to have a pair of these and connect it to your Apple TV and have spatial audio and all of that. Um, Now, having said that, I've got the Sony HT-A9, which is also on this list, and I'm completely happy with it. So I wouldn't replace my home theater with the Sonos Era, but I think maybe in a common space or something along those lines, I think this would be a really nice speaker to have.
Hmm.
That would be my third choice, and yeah, it's just in 2,000 dirhams. It's a good pick. I think if you want a nice speaker, this would definitely be a good pick.
Are
Yeah.
those wireless?
They are, yeah, wireless, and then they've got like streaming services built in. So I think you've got Spotify built in. I think you've got Amazon Music built in. So a couple of these built in on there. Alrighty then. Moving on to our next story. Halo Season 2. It's coming up on OSN this week, isn't it? You know what? The first season exceeded all my expectations. I wasn't thinking it's going to be that great of a show, but oh, it was good. It was
Yeah,
actually pretty good.
yeah.
There were a couple of episodes that could have been better, but overall, the whole season was really nice. I know, Murphy, you saw season one as well. Sam,
Yeah.
I don't think you've seen that.
I haven't seen it, played the games. Need to get on it and check it out though.
Gotcha.
Sam, you have played the games?
I've played Halo. It was one,
Yeah.
you had that rivalry. I was a PlayStation guy. You go to your friend's place. He's got the Xbox. Like, I liked Halo. It was all right.
Yeah.
So, this is interesting because I haven't played the game and Sam hasn't watched the
That's why you like it.
show. And Mof, you've done both, right?
I've done both, yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think? Like, is it a good interpretation of the game?
It is not a good interpretation of the game, but just because it is not exactly like the game, right? They have
Okay.
taken a complete detour of the story. Like the show shows you the background of backstory of Master Chief, right? When he was a child, what happened to him? That's never explored in the games, and he never takes off his
Helmet, yeah.
helmet or you know you know uh, other parts, but yeah, so the story does not follow a game, it follows the overall lore. So if if you have played those games and you want to watch the show, you have to understand that this is not the game story one is to one. They are taking their own route to tell the story
Mm,
based on the lore. With that mindset, you will for sure enjoy the show, because it's a very nice and well made science fiction show. But when the first season released, like fans just went ballistic on it, like this is not Halo, this is not
mm.
this and this, and I understand that, but we have to set our expectations where this is not the game, this is something else entirely. It's just using the character, just using the world, just using the lore, and they're making their own story, and with that it is actually very, very good.
You know what? There was another game based show, which was The Last of Us. And
Yeah.
I think that stuck quite true to the actual game's
Yes.
story. Also phenomenal, also
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved that show as
Last of
well.
Us, Last of Us, what they did was very smart. They told the game story, but also added little backstories to the game story. So if you're a fan of the games, you get more of the story through the show. And that was just
Mm.
brilliantly executed, brilliantly executed. I mean, Halo could do it, but Halo doesn't have that kind of story. It's just pure
Yeah.
action. Like Halo games never had story. You had
Yeah,
to
it's
read
like
the
a run and
books.
gun, right?
Yeah, it has a very thin story. I don't know why people claim that Halo has a rich story based on the games. But if you read the books and you read all of the extra stuff, then yes, Halo has that huge lore. But the games do not have it. So to
Mm.
follow the games like that is not be
Yeah.
ideal.
Halo lands on OSN February 9th. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the first two episodes come in on episode 9. I could
Oh,
be
it's
wrong. If maybe
weekly.
it's just one. Maybe it's just one. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, February 9th. So if you're looking to watch Halo 2, just
Yeah,
make sure,
definitely.
you stay focused on OSN for that. Cool. And then our last story for the day is best co-op games. I kind of liked this article that Muffy did. It's on Tbreak, and obviously, it's just listing the best 10 best co-op games. Why did I like this particular article? Because there's just one game that I have actually played and completed in the last 2 to 3 years, and that was the two of us now, some of us now. Why am I getting
It
confused?
Takes Two?
It
It
Takes
takes
Two.
two. Yeah.
There you go. It Takes Two. Sorry about that. That was the only game that I actually completed.
Oh, you
I played
finished
it with
that?
one of my daughters, and we had a great time playing that game. And I kind of went through this list, Muff, that you sort of did on there. What I, you know what? First, let's of all just kind of mention the games that you have sort of mentioned in there. Starts off with It Takes Two. Next up on this list is Portal 2. Then there's Stardew Valley, Borderlands 2, Sea of Thieves, Overcooked 2, Monster Hunter Rise, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 5, and finally Power Wash Simulator.
Power Wash Simulator.
The
Wow.
best game of 2021.
Wow.
Game of the
Wow.
year.
Wow. I think I need to
Awesome.
check that out.
Awesome. There's a stage where you go to the moon and to clean the,
No
what do you call it?
way.
Awesome. Really, really
Holy
cool.
cow. Okay, that's cool.
Got to put this on our list. So, Muff, what I wanted to ask you was that the reason I enjoyed It Takes Two was because you played it together on one screen at the same time. Is there any game on this list that's like that, where you don't need to be like sitting on your own dedicated machine, but actually playing together? Is there anything like this on this
There
list?
are, I think, there are two games like that. One is, no, there are three games. So Halo Master Chief Collection. I'm sure that
Split
some of
screen.
the games can be played in split screen, but I also heard that it is still not implemented like in this version of the game.
Okay,
It might they might have done it, but Halo generally has split screen co-op, so
gotcha.
it should be there by now. Then there's
Okay,
also Overcooked 2, which has kind of split screen. It's not split screen; it's just two players in the same screen basically because it's
okay.
over the top. And of course, Borderlands 2 that has a split screen co-op, couch
I'm
co-op.
assuming Borderlands is a little too much for a 9-year-old.
Yes,
The content,
definitely. Do
yeah,
not
you
do
can't
not
really
go
play
near
with
it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'll check out Overcooked too.
Overcooked 2. Yeah, that's a
I
fun
have an
game.
interesting story actually with this whole co-op play. So it's not on the list. I mean, understandable. It's a bit of an older title, but what actually led me to buy a PS3 and a new TV was co-op
Wow.
play playing Resistance: Fall of Man on PS3 at a friend's place back in the day. And the next day I
Okay,
went and spent 6 grand on a new console and a new TV. That was such a
that was
fantastic
it.
experience.
My first co-op experience was probably you guys have never heard of this game. It was called Gauntlet. It was on the Oh, good question. I'm not sure if it was the Atari or it was the Commodore 64. It was back in the day. It was literally like a top down dungeon crawler where four players together could sort of go in and
Oh wow.
it was just one, it wasn't split in four screens like the James Bond on Nintendo. What was that game on Nintendo?
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. Yeah, no, it was just
Also
like one
fantastic.
screen. Everybody was on that screen. So it was just a complete top-down dungeon level where you kind of have to go from room to room and stuff like that. That was the first time I played co-op together, and that was a lot of fun as well. But GoldenEye, oh, that game was so popular.
One
That
up
was
from
another
it,
classic.
Perfect Dark. That was
Perfect
my
Dark.
next, also co-op based,
I've not
fantastic.
played both of them.
No?
Okay.
Shockingly, yeah, I have not. GoldenEye released for the Nintendo
Yeah,
platforms, correct?
that's true.
N64.
Yeah,
Yep.
I never had those platforms. I was PC, then I went to PlayStation, then Xbox. I never had Nintendo consoles,
Mm.
so I never grew up with those games.
And it's a
No, fair
shame. I
enough.
mean, in this day and age, that sort of experience is not really cultivated as such.
Yeah,
Like, it is a great experience to, sit down on the couch and play with a friend or a family member and have that, rivalry, camaraderie, and all of that. Now it's
yeah.
like, oh, I'll just play online, and you kind of
Join your
lose out on
parties
that.
and
Yeah,
chats.
yeah,
Yeah. That's why the Wii U got so famous, because it had those kind of games where you could just play with your friends and family from the same room. And
yeah.
then the Switch also has
Yeah.
the kind of game. So people still want it, but nobody wants to make it. So
I think Nintendo's business model is incredible. Like they basically literally take last gen GPUs, processors, technology, whatever it
yeah,
is, whereas PlayStation and Xbox really want the latest, greatest GPUs and processors in there. Nintendo is pretty cool with taking last gen hardware and then making something so awesome out of it
they
Mm.
that,
absolutely do not care
yeah,
about any of
absolutely.
it. They absolutely don't. I think, if I am not wrong, Nintendo Switch is the only console when it launched that it was making money
Yeah,
in terms of when they sell the
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
Profitable on the hardware
Yeah,
Hardware
itself.
side,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sony, because PlayStation 5 and Xbox, they both make a loss on there, and then they have to do the sales for games to,
Yep,
but yeah,
absolutely.
Nintendo doesn't care. They run on their own drum, like amazing.
And they do
Every,
great at it.
oh man, every game they have released have sold more than 10 million copies.
Nice.
Every game, I can't believe it.
That's consistency at its best.
Oh,
They're
brilliant.
good at it. They're definitely good at it. Cool. Well, I guess that's pretty much all that we have this week, and we will be back next week. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this episode, if you'd like to see us do things a little differently. But until next week, this is Abba signing out. Guys, you want to say bye as well?
Yeah,
Bye.
I got one more thing to add. Let us know in the
Sorry.
comments if we haven't picked what would be your pick of the best co-op game.
Yeah.
So let
That'd be
us
a good
know.
one.
Yeah,
Share your
That
stories
would be a
of
good one.
co-ops. Yeah.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Adios.
See
See you
ya.
guys.